For sure you've heard the news by now. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, died Thursday at 76 years old. She was an inspiration to so many people and a cultural icon for decades. Joining me now to talk about her life and her music and her impact on our country, please help me welcome our panel regulars, NBC's own Stephanie Gosk and Craig Melvin, along with Amy Holmes, co-host of PBS's In Principle. But before we get started, here's a look back at Franklin's life.
There has never been a voice like her. The undisputed Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. We know her songs so well, all it takes is the first few notes, and we can sing the rest by heart.
Does he love me? I wanna know.
It is amazing to find what it is singers do for people.
Aretha Louise Franklin was born in Memphis in 1942. Her dad, a Baptist minister. Her mom, a singer and pianist. Their home wasn't always happy or stable, and music was Franklin's outlet. She started out performing in church.
I had no real formal training. My formal training was my ear, and that's it, right here.
At 14, she recorded her first album. By then, she was pregnant with her second child, and teenage motherhood temporarily stalled her career. But by her early 20s, she had her first top 10 hit.
Love a man the way that I love you.
I Never Loved a Man. Respect followed a few months later, and a star was born.
Everybody wants respect. Young, old, middle-aged, even little 3-year-olds want respect.
She was a diva and a trailblazer who used her voice to crash through barriers, rising against the backdrop of the civil rights movement to become the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There was a rough patch in the 70s, but Franklin found a memorable way to make a comeback. And thanks to her power, range, and style, she's remained an icon ever since. Producing so many signature hits, it's impossible to pick a favorite.
They're like my children. I love them all, but there are some that I like a little more than others.
There were also 18 Grammys, more than 20 #1 singles, and a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I fly away.
It was Franklin's voice that was the soundtrack to so many cultural milestones, from Martin Luther King Jr.'s memorial service to Barack Obama's inauguration. Twice divorced and a mother of 4, Franklin was fiercely protective of her privacy, in later years preferring to spend most of her time at home in Detroit. Which is perhaps why this 2015 performance at the Kennedy Center was so special. Franklin brought the house down, later calling it one of the best nights of her life, and reminding the world she'll always be the Queen.
I love what I do, and I just wouldn't be doing anything else. In fact, I thought, what else would I have done?
Wow. Wow. That was incredible. And our thanks to NBC's Lester Holt for that report. What a beautiful tribute to her. It captured her essence, and it does encapsulate how you feel, sad at her passing, but also just like, like inspired by her life.
You think about, as Lester reported on there, here's a woman that by the time she was 14 had 2 kids, steps away from singing for a while, comes back, and there was a lot left out of that report. I mean, Aretha Franklin lived a fairly hard life by a lot of measures, and to manage to pull herself up the way that she did time and time again, Billboard 200 more than 40 times.
Wow. Incredible. And when you hear the songs, strung together like that in a compilation, you forget how many of her hits we all loved.
Yeah, gospel, blues, pop, soul, across the board. I mean, she dominated the charts for decades.
Transcended race and class. If you really think about it, there are very few musicians, especially nowadays, that manage to transcend so many different groups. You know, you've got artists that appeal to this. Not Aretha. Everyone loved Aretha.
And in transcending, let's not forget her amazing duet with George Michael.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
That's right.
I remember being a kid and being so excited when that video was going to premiere on MTV. I mean, it was as big as Run DMC and Aerosmith, you know? It was incredible. But I felt so emotional hearing all of those songs, and we all know the words, and they probably apply to different parts of your life, different moments in your life. Having listened to her best of albums myself over and over and over, what an icon.
I feel like the, respect is something, I mean, honestly, the whole country could use that one right now as our national anthem, but it was a calling card. It was a calling card for women to stand up for themselves, African-American women.
Recorded in 1967.
I mean, think about that.
And it was actually a cover. It had been sung before.
That's right.
She's the one who made it, who blew
made
it
it
up
famous.
big. Yeah.
But for me, it was Natural Woman. Because I fell in love with that song, and when my first child was born, I started to sing it to my babe, and I've sung that song to all 3 of my kids. Like, just the words.
You make me cry, Megyn.
They're perfect. They're perfect to sing to a child. Like, that is how they make you feel, you know? Now I'm no longer doubtful of what I'm living for. It's just really like, you feel the loss, because think of all the singers who are out there who tried and failed, who couldn't quite get there, who didn't do the thing. She had it all. She made us feel it all.
My introduction to her was in middle school when I first started paying attention to music, and that was kind of her pop era. And that's when she came out with Freeway of Love. And I remember as a kid loving that song. And then only later, when I started to appreciate what love is about, Wind Against Our Back, riding in my pink Cadillac. I mean, come on. If that doesn't describe what love is, I don't know what does. I mean, that's fantastic. And it was her pink Cadillac, too. It wasn't his.
That's right.
It was her
That's
pink Cadillac.
right. Amen.
A lot of folks don't realize, a number of people think that, Blues Brothers really sort of launched her comeback back in 1980. They originally did not want her for that movie. They wanted the band that sang Car Wash.
Come on.
And seriously.
That's a good song, too.
Yeah, right.
Dan Aykroyd, to his credit, both of them said, no, whoa. Aretha Franklin, and really lobbied for her, and that gave us Aretha in the 80s and 90s now. I mean, that really sort of launched the research.
Introduced her to a whole new generation of moviegoers and song lovers.
And Stephanie, you talk about how, as you get older, you appreciate more and more the depth of her music.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a clip of it. I sent it to the producers of Drown in My Own Tears. And the opening of this is so epic. It's this a cappella incredible.
Yeah, we do. Wow. Yeah. She, for me, one of my favorite stories about her, we talked about this for the audience the other day. It was the year, I went back and looked it up. It was 1998, it was the Grammy Awards. And Pavarotti was supposed to perform.
That's right.
And at the last minute, he canceled. And they got Aretha to fill in for him, and she sang his song. She did not insist on singing her song and nailed it. Do we have a clip? Let's watch. Right? Oh my God! Who else could do that? She did so well. Nessun Dorma, that she made that part of her routine. Like when she would go on tour, she actually would sing that because it became so popular, her version of it, just because she did that. Who else could sing a Pavarotti song like that?
When music gives you chills like that, head to toe chills, it's just such a talent.
And Megyn, I have a funny story about her that I read years ago, that after having been cheated, going on the road, singing for clubs and lounges and so forth, for the rest of Aretha's career, she would demand getting paid up front, in cash, and stick it in her bra.
Ironically, that's also my deal with NBC. I have my paycheck in my bra right now.
Not touching that.
And
Speaking of our careers here at NBC, Craig Melvin, you got something interesting coming up.
Sunday night. Yeah, you know what? Of all of the stories that I've worked on here, Sunday night, it's probably the story of which I'm most proud so far. It's called City of Angels. We spent the last few months out in California looking at a persistent and complex problem in this country, homelessness. We went to L.A. because there is no place where the problem is worse. I mean, we're talking 55,000 people in Los Angeles proper living on the streets, many of them in tents on the streets, blocks and blocks of people. And it's, you know, it's not just the second largest city in this country. Los Angeles is one of these places that you think
it's a mecca.
It's a mecca, but it's also, you think about progressive politics. You could make the Democratic mayor, you could make the argument of all of the places in this country where there should not be this kind of problem, should be LA. Lots of money in LA. But for a host of reasons, it persists there. But we also met lots of people who have committed their lives to solving the problem of homelessness in Los Angeles and around the country. So, Sunday night.
I'm really looking forward to that, Craig. I can't wait to see it. I'm hearing very good things from our Dateline friends. And you can catch Craig's Dateline special again this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Thank you all so much.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.